Welcome to Math with Mrs. Tremblay, Unit 3, Lesson 3. You need your math packet out and open it up to Lesson 3. You need something to write with, and let's go. And again, everything that I write, you should write. So we're gonna look at some word problem examples for multiplication today. And how do you know when to multiply? Even though we know these are all going to be multiplication, and eventually we'll go through division. But in the long run, you're gonna have to know when to multiply when you're given all four operations. So we want to practice looking for some keywords today. So how do you know when to multiply? Ask yourself, are you trying to determine a total amount of something? So if you're being asked to find the total of something, that's a clue. And generally that's a clue for either addition or multiplication. When it is multiplication with fractions, ask yourself, are you taking part of a whole? And are you taking part of a part? And you'll see those words as we go through. Of is one of those key words for multiplying fractions. So let's go. It says, try it. Solve each problem. Be sure to simplify when you can. All right, letter A. As part of his chores, Carter must vacuum half of the house. If he has already vacuumed 1/3 of his share, what part of the house has he vacuumed? All right, so we're trying to figure out what part of the house he has vacuumed. We're trying to figure out how much of it total he has done. And we are taking part of a part right here. So what do I mean when I say part of a part? Well, he's vacuumed part of the house, 1/2, right? That's what he has to do. He has to take half of the whole. And then he's done 1/3 of that. So if I can say that he's done 1/3 of that, that would mean 1/2 times 1/3, because I am taking 1/3 of that 1/2. You could also write 1/3 times 1/2 because the commutative property works for multiplication. So this is multiplication here because we are taking part of a part. Okay, so we learned that all you have to do is multiply your numerators. 1 times 1 is 1, 2 times 3 is 6, and I can't simplify that anymore. So what part of the house has he vacuumed? 1/6 of the house. Okay, letter B. After his soccer game, Matt had 3/4 of his sports drink left. Before walking off the field, he drank 2/3 of what was left. How much of the original bottle did he drink before walking off the field? So again, we're taking part of a part. He had 3/4 left in there, and he drank 2/3 of that. If I drank 2/3 of that, that's a multiplication problem. So you think about it, you could say 2/3 times 3/4 because he drank 2/3 of the 3/4. And again, you could write 3/4 times 2/3, it wouldn't matter because the commutative property. So 2 times 3 is 6, 3 times 4 is 12, and hopefully you see, oh, wait a minute, Mrs. Tremblay, that can be simplified. 6 is half of 12. 6 plus 6 is 12. That means that simplifies to 1/2. So he drank half, and it says, of the original bottle, so half of the bottle, or half of the sports drink, however you want to write it. All right, letter C. This time it's in words, and it says 2/3 of the student. That means 2/3. 2/3 of the students in orchestra play string instruments. 1/2, that's 1/2, of the students who play string instruments play the violin. What fraction of all the students in the orchestra play violin? This again, you're taking part of a part. We're taking half of the 2/3, okay? So I can say half of 2/3, 1/2 times 2/3. You could also say 2/3 times 1/2 if you recognize that it's multiplication, and that's fine. 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 3 is 6. And when I see 2 and 6, I know those are both divisible by 2, so I would divide them both by 2 to get 1/3 of the students. All right, so we are on letter D. 1/3 of the campers, so we recognize this as 1/3, 1/3 of the campers at a summer camp took an art class. Of these campers, 1/5 took painting. What fraction of the campers, oh, there should be a K there, took painting? So 1/5 of the 1/3. That's multiplication, right? So if I want to take 1/5 of 1/3, it would look like that. Again, if you wrote 1/3 times 1/5, that's okay. You're going to get the same answer of 1/15 took painting. Okay, letter E. Eli walks 9 blocks to school. His friend Jack walks 1/5 of that distance. How many blocks does Jack walk to school? So now instead of part of a part, we're taking part of a whole. So it said that Jack walks 1/5 of 9. And we recognize that that word of means multiplication. So 1/5 of 9 would look like that. You could write 9 times 1/5, that would be fine. But if Jack walks 1/5 of that distance, this means 1/5 of 9. Okay, so we learned before when you multiply by a whole number, I can just make that a fraction by putting a 1 under it. I don't change the value of it. And now I can multiply my numerator, multiply my denominators. And I see this is improper here. So we're going to simplify this into a mixed number. And 5 goes into 9 one time with 4 left over. So Jack walks 1 4/5 blocks to school. Letter F. Farmer Dell has 4 acres of land. Are you thinking the farmer and the Dell? That's what I was going for. So Farmer Dell has 4 acres of land. He plows 1/3 of his land. How much of his land did he plow? So if it says 1/3 of his land and his land is 4 acres, that means 1/3 times 4. That word of means multiplication. So here I'm taking part of a whole. That's one of our clues. Are you taking part of a whole? If you are, that means you multiply. So I will go ahead and put my 1 there so I can multiply my numerators and multiply my denominators. This is improper, so let's switch it up. He plowed 1, because 3 goes into 4 once, with 1 left over out of 3. 1 1/3 acres. Letter G. Kate is filling her bathtub. The tub holds 32 gallons of water. It is now 4/7 full. How many gallons of water are in the tub? So 4/7 of the 32. That's how much. So I need to take 4/7 times 32, or I could take 32 times 4/7. It doesn't matter. All right, I'm gonna put my 1 underneath here. So I know my denominator is gonna be 7. To do 4 times 32, you could either set it up 32 times 4 and say 4 times 2 is 8 and 4 times 3 is 12. Or in your head, you could say, well, 4 times 30, that's 120, and 4 times 2 is 8, and 120 plus 8 is 128. Now this is definitely improper, right? So we're gonna do a little long division. I know it's been a while. I need to figure out how many 7/7 there are on 128. So I'm gonna take 128 divided by 7. So 7 goes into the 12 one time. There are 5 left over, and I drop down my 8. And 7 times 8 is 56. Out of room here. And then there's 2 left. So I can fit 18 7/7 in there. There are 2 left over out of 7. So 18 2/7 gallons. That's how many. All right, last one. 1 lap around the track is 1/4 of a mile. That's 1/4. Addison ran around the track 13 times. How far did she run? So if she did 1/4 13 times, that means 1/4 times 13. 1/4 13 times. So I'm gonna go ahead and put a 1 underneath there. 1 times 13 is 13. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 3 gets me closest to 13. 4 times 3 is 12. And there's 1 left to get to the 13 out of 4. So 3 1/4 miles. All right, so you're all set. You're gonna do some practice after this. Don't skip the practice. Thank you so much for watching.